Hello guys, Dan Hook here and welcome to part 7 on the How to Write a Novel series. This will focus on finding a professional, which I believe is a necessary step, particularly if you're self-publishing, to bring your novel up to the next level. Now, yes, your story is in the tippiest, toppiest, polished shape that it's ever been. It's reading nicely, and now really the next step is to get someone with some experience in the industry to take a look at it. Now, in the UK, it was called the SFEP, but now it's called the CIP, Chartered Institute of Editing and Proofreading, I think. I could be completely wrong, but essentially that's a standard where you have to have a certain amount of skill and also time within the editing industry to have recognition with that association. So that's the tip top. Of course, the price is going to be quite expensive, but there are alternatives on Fiverr which are far cheaper and they do a fantastic job, and it's definitely worth taking a look. But essentially there are 3-4 types of editing that you can look at getting for your novel. The first one is a manuscript critique, which is where an editor will critique your manuscript and go over what needs changing, story-wise, arc-wise, pacing, dialogue, but it's ultimately just a critique and not an edit. The second is a developmental edit, where they will make edits to the overall structure and story and development of your plot. And the third one is inline editing, which is where they will edit each line of your book with grammar, punctuation, dialogue, etc. And then lastly is proofreading, which I would say you want to do. Proofreading is like the last thing you should do. Proofreading is where someone gives a final look of your book before you upload it and sell it. So it's literally the last thing you do before, once you have it proofread, you should barely need to touch it afterwards. Like, that should be it. It's done. Of course, 100% rate is never going to be, really realistically achievable, but the error rate will be far lower than if you had no editor at all. Now, this certainly isn't necessary, but because I was going the self-published route, it's literally just me, and I wanted to feel comfortable with the writing that was going out. So I got an inline edit with someone who was with the CIP, went over their feedback. They had very, very good suggestions. I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend doing it. And then after going through their suggestions and their feedback, I then had a proofreader who went over it again and picked up any final mistakes, because of course when I got my editor and she gave me some feedback, I changed and applied an action to this. But when I obviously edit and apply and action it, I do it to a certain chunk, but sometimes changing that certain chunk can make the surrounding writing not flow as well. And yes, I did try to check it, but of course, again, it's the whole fresh eyes, having a fresh-eyed proofreader come in after I do the edits from the inline editor to go over and just make sure everything is just a-okay. That just made me feel so much better when it came to uploading my book to Amazon and Ingram Spark. But again, this isn't necessary. If you don't fancy it, you can do it yourself. I would say if you're doing it yourself, or perhaps maybe get a friend to help out, the more eyes the better, and also the more space the better. If you can give yourself some breaks between, so if you go over it, edit it and think that it's done, give yourself another week or another 2 weeks or a month, or get someone else to just read through it for you, see if they can pick up on anything. Because always having that fresh look at it allows you to spot different things. And of course, whilst you're waiting for your fresh eyes for your book, or you've got it away editing, the next thing to focus on is marketing, which I'll discuss in the next video. Cheers for watching.